Boy, it is crazy to think that in 6 months' time, Excalibur went from the Mag Max, the bow on the right, to that contraption on the left. And that contraption is the Hybrid X. Welcome to another bow review. This one is the Hybrid X from Excalibur, and I think you're going to agree that this one is definitely different, and this is definitely one to look at. Hi, it's Mike, Horizontal Zone. Let's get into this bow. This one is different, caught everybody by surprise, I will tell you that. As you can see in the opening video, we went from the Mag Max with the traditional recurve limbs to, now we have this, recurve limbs, cams, better known as the Hybrid X. Kind of reminds you when you were a kid, and I'm going to date myself here, watching Superman. Look, up in the sky, it's a bird, it's a plane. No, it's Superman. This is the same thing. Look, it's a bow, it's a recurve, it's a cam. No, it's the Hybrid X. So, excited, different, a lot of great features. So, let's talk about this bow. But let's talk about the package first. First of all, you're going to get the bow. It's got their Overwatch scope, comes with it. It's a good scope, 30mm tube. It's got the circles. The bigger one starts at 20, goes down. It's lighted green or red out to 60 yards. It is a speed compensating scope. Also with the bow, you get the very nice Rebolt quiver. They went to this a few years ago. This is a great mounting system. This is new. The mounting for this year is the quiver bracket, and it's not on the bow now, but as you can see, it's a dove mount system. When this is on the bow, you just put it right in there, and then you lock this thing down, and then it's not coming off. And then when you get to your tree or your blind, you want to take it off, you just flip the lever up, take it out, and you're good to go. It's got padding, rubber up inside there, so arrows aren't going to clank around or anything like that. You can see on this, you can only put it one way because there's a screw in the back. So when you go to put the quiver on, if you don't have it right, it's not going on there because it blocks it. So when it just slides, and what I like about this new bracket, in the past you had to kind of gauge it where it was, but now it's a hard stop. So that's a nice upgrade. It's not coming off. Nice job. It does come with the manual. It's a good manual, hybrid manual. I will tell you, we'll talk about it when we get into it. There's a huge section on how to change the strings and cables on this bow. Notice I said cables. That's something new. And then the new V-Flight arrow. So these are 18 inches long. New for this year, Excalibur does send a packet of 100 grain field tips and 150 grain field tips. So when you put the field tip on of your choice, you're either at 400 grains total right, 18-inch arrow, or 450. Me personally, I'm going with the 150s. When you look at that, this 18-inch arrow with the 150 grain is going to be 450 total, and the bow shoots, depending on the bow and some things, you're 415 to 418. It's probably close to 435 if you want to shoot the 400 grain. Honestly, like I said just a second ago, 18-inch arrow clocking in at 418 feet per second at 450 grains. It's not going to want to stop, and it's going to keep going. A new upgrade to the Rhino nock. And I'm going to try to get this a little closer. You couldn't have used a traditional Rhino nock because of the string angle with the bow. But you can see now, they've got a groove in there for the string, and it's rounded. So, and then when you load it, you can only load it one way. There's cock feather down. And then up top, as you remember, and we'll talk about it when we get into it, the ceasefire has got a little detent ball that drops down. And that is your anti-dry fire system. It goes right up in that notch there. It goes on there very easy. I'll load one in a little bit to show you. You can see it's got like a little guide here. And that's supposed to line up with your cock vane. And it says right on there, you know, cock vane down. It's a nice arrow. It's a Black Eagle, 450 grains. It does well. These nocks are proprietary, so you can only get them right now. You can't get these from your favorite arrow builder, or you can't buy the components yourself for now. You have to buy those, the arrow from Excalibur. And from my experience, these arrows shoot fine, and we'll talk about that. This bow is one heck of a shooter. Also this year with it, it's got its own case. Very nice case. Let me move the bow over here a little bit. Very nice case. So if you look, place up top to put your, you're going to put your quiver. This is nice rubber sewn in. Very nice. Got very heavy duty zippers. Pockets on the sides. When you open it up, plenty of padding in there. Get that open here. Great big, look how big that zipper is. Plus it's got that, put your finger in there to unzip it. Look at all that. It's all padded inside. It's got straps to strap your bow in. This is a very nice quiver here. Again, pocket, pocket, pocket. And then the place up top for your quiver. And then these nice padded back straps. They were including these with the bow. I don't know if they still are. That promotion's going on. Top handle to pick it up. So this is very nice if you're a case guy and you like to pack it up. If you're going to put it back on your four-wheeler or however you're going to get to the woods, if you got a long hike, backpack it in. So that's a very nice quiver. Let's talk about this bow for a little bit. We're going to start bottom to top, back to front. The stock, you've seen the stock before. It is the same stock. It's on the Rev X. So it's that hasn't changed. I do want to point out this year, right now, you can only get the Mossy Oak DNA camo. I'm kind of okay with that. I think the last couple of years, you've seen a lot of bottom land out there. I think this is okay. It's something different. It's a little darker camo, so if you're in a blind, you know, you don't have that real bright camo that some of the companies are doing now. So it'll be nice in the blind. Nice rubber here for your cheek piece. Rubber inlays for the grips. That's still there. Again, they brought this again. It's the same stock as the Rev X. The handle right in there to get that out. There's a little lever up top. Push that in. Comes out. You got to put it back. Slide it in there. Line up the handle. Boom. You know, you don't lose your crank handle that way. I think that's a great little piece. Kind of going a little further down. Something new for this year. If you notice, this bow is like, it's got two different risers with it. That's crazy, right? You would think, you know, just a riser. But no, it's two because of how they did the cams. Point out a couple things on this. The main riser here, the one that's further back where the limbs, notice the limb pockets. You know, notice how they're in there. The limbs go inside that pocket. That's a very nice job there. And they're not, there's no rattle, there's no any of that. This is kind of a soft rubber right here when you touch it. So that's going to aid in keeping everything in check and up to spec. One thing I want to point out, which is a fantastic feature now. What is one of the things that an Excalibur always did when you shot it? Vibration. When you're looking through the scope and you shoot, it's got that vibration. Not now. Because this is acting like some companies are using scope struts. This is all part of the scope rail system now where it's all on there. You can actually, when you shoot an arrow with this bow, it doesn't do any of that vibration. You can watch the arrow actually impact the target where if you're a long-time Excalibur guy, that never happened. So that's a nice upgrade. You put one of the heavy, you know, the new range finding scopes, whether you're running a burst or a garment, they're heavy. Not now, you have the supports here. So that's a very nice upgrade here. If you notice, we'll call it the front riser. It's a load through, shoot through riser. I'll give you the front. You can see right there, you know, you're basically loading and shooting right through there. Interesting concept where the cams are on the main frame and not on the limb tips. Well, what does that do? Well, first of all, you're not going to have cam lean now because these can't go anywhere. You know, the flex is here. The flex isn't there. This is rigid, front to back. So you're always going to have that rigidness, which is going to aid, and trust me, this bow, and there's plenty of videos out there already. I'm a little late to the dance with the bow. There's plenty of videos out there. This thing shoots crazy accurate. I mean, I know everybody touts same hole. This one is same hole. And it's impressive. When you look at the, you know, when you look at these cams, they do have timing marks. Right here, you got, on this bow, you've got it, the cable's just above the back dot. I say the back dot, the one facing the back of the bow, and then the top dot. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I have shot this bow a ton since I got it, and I mean a lot. Changed different scopes. I'm trying all kinds of stuff with this bow. The timing hasn't moved yet. A little bit different setup on how the cables go. You can look, I'll get a little closer. You notice the cable, and it looks like two cables, but it's one, and then one on the other side. They go in and they lock into the limb tips. If you can see it, they're split. And so the cables kind of go right in there. That's a kind of an interesting feature. When you go to change your strings and cables, it's a little different stringing aid. You can see they put the notch on there. That's kind of, you know, that started with the twin strike and it continues with here. And also when you're changing strings and cables, there's grooves already to put the stringing aid in there. So very well thought out bow. Very well thought out bow. Look at this riser, just how beefy it is. And the good part here is it's flat. So when you set this thing down, it stays there. So nice feature there. The foot stirrup, not really a traditional stirrup in the way. It's not a huge stirrup as in the past. It is rubber coated to help. But if you notice, you can mount it two ways. You can mount it down how I have it, or you can mount it going out. I like it down for the sole reason when you go to cock the bow, you're laying this part flat, and then you just put your toe on there and it just steadies it. We'll cock it in a minute. We'll show you how that works. But very well thought out. Suppression system. This bow is loud. Even with the suppression system, it's loud. It's obnoxious without it. Use the suppression system. You've got two for the one on each limb, and then one each on the stirrup. Because you set it down, I spun them to where you can see it's on the inside, not the outside. It works well. The bow's got an interesting sound when you shoot it. It's almost like a barrel, empty barrel when you shoot, but because of the deadening system, it's not resounding. It goes doom and it's done. Like I said, when you shoot, that vibration's gone. So it's very well thought out. They still have the slot here. I don't know if you can see it. When you let your bow down at the end of the day and you didn't kill an animal and you let it down, you go in there, there's a slot. Put your finger in there. There's a lever in the back of the trigger block. You flip the lever and off it comes. You just put it in the fire and you flip it and off it comes. This bow does have the ceasefire. It is a two-stage. I saw a video where people were talking about there was some play in the trigger. It was supposed to be play. It's a two-stage. Got a little take up, boom, it goes. So very nice job with Excalibur. I like everything about what they've done with this bow. And it shoots. It's I kind of look at it as, There's no finesse in this bow at all. This bow is like a mallet and an anvil. This is one serious hunting bow. So impressed so far, and I think you will be. A couple of people asked me how much it weighs. This is the Overwatch scope, so I'm going to leave that on there. This is their scope. Let me turn this on. This is just a cheap handheld. Let me set it for pounds because I don't know metric. Put it up. Kind of hard because I'm holding it, so I'm not real steady like if you hung it on a nail. About 9.5 pounds. So you're looking at 9.5 pounds with this scope. Your mileage will vary. If your scope is heavier, obviously it's going to be more. You know, if you run a red dot, which weighs ounces, it's going to be less. So this, you're probably looking at a pound right here. I didn't put the quiver on. The quiver's not heavy, but it's not light, but it's a nice quiver. So, you know, you're probably set up with 4, I think that thing holds 4 arrows. No, it holds 5. Put 5 arrows in there and all, you're over 10 pounds ready to go. Let's talk about cocking and shooting this bow. All right, I got this set up on a little table here. It's steady enough to do it. Let's talk about cocking and loading and decocking this bow. Interesting, you know, when you talk about shooting an Excalibur, especially these high pounders, the one thing you'll notice is just how far the limbs, you know, compress and curve, you know, when you're cocking the bow. And you know what an Excalibur, a traditional Excalibur, not the Hybrid X, is, you know, the limbs do all the weight. The only difference between each bow is how far the power stroke is, and that's where the power comes from. Where now, you know, you got the cams, the power's coming from here, but when you look, this bow cocks, these limbs only travel, not because it's off, you know, when you cock, it's like 1/4 of an inch off the cam. I mean, you're only moving that far, so the limbs aren't flexing near as much as what a traditional Excalibur flexes. So I think and I don't know, I don't have any data, and these bows are pretty new, so I don't know if there's been any limb issues or anything with this bow. But it has, you know, again, I think it's got to help. I don't know how it can help. So let's cock this thing real quick so you can see it's not that hard. Now, because I have it up in the air, I don't have my foot on it. Again, we're going to do this. So they got 2 little levers right here behind trigger block. When you flip them, and you'll see it drops down a little bit, drops down about to where the front riser is. Just push it down. It's going to get there, and then I like to just put my fingers on the front riser. Hear that audible click? You can't miss that. It's in. Remember, it's an Excalibur. It's not automatic safe. Ambidextrous safety. Pull it back. You can see on both sides, it shows green, which means it's on safe. Forward is red, ready to fire. So back to safe we go. You're going to pull out your handle as we discussed. Again, if you had a Rev X or saw it, their handle locks in. It's not like some where it's magnetic. It locks in. It's not going anywhere. Just crank the bow. Just watch out. Just look at the limb movement. It's a little hard. It's a small table, so it's kind of hard to steady it. But hear it, click, done. Don't go any further. Don't muscle it. It's not going to go any further. Back wind to 3. No buttons to push. 1, 2, 3. Pull it out. Put it back in because you're going hunting. You don't want to lose it. There you go. So look how narrow that thing is once it's cocked. It's probably, I can measure it, but 1/4 of an inch, less than a 1/2 inch. I mean, it's a little over 10 inches right here. So that baby's narrow. It's interesting, like now you don't see any cables because they're kind of taken up with the cams. Now that it's over there, now you see the string. When this thing's not cocked, it's only showing about that much string. Now you can see the string, but you can see why they had to change the nock. Look at the string angle. Again, well thought out bow, I will tell you that. Very impressed with it. So to load it, now upstairs is the dining room, so hopefully nobody's in the dining room in case I shoot somebody. It is on safe. Cock feather down. you'll see a little V notch right there. That's where the cock feather goes. Just put it right in. Remember, it's a load through, shoot through riser. Take it down. A little easier when you can look at it. Come on, Mike, don't let it whoop you. All right, it's going to push and it's going to stop. It's not armed at that point. It stops. I will tell you this, because when you do it fast, you can hear it's like metal on metal, so you think you're back there. The anti-dry fire works because I've done it and it's not been back there all the way, and it won't fire. So just a little push. Now it's armed. Now I want to show you something. There's where the arrow is when the bow's cocked. So it's out there a couple inches past that riser. You know, I've seen guys where they want to, they talk about, well, we'll just cut that down or whatever. I don't know why you would, but you know, different strokes for different folks. But that's right there. So you put your broadhead's going to be, depending on what you shoot, if you got one of them long, like say a schwacker, you're going to be out there. So that's real. But if you're on a blind, you're going to have it setting like this. See, I'll show. It's going to set like that, so it's not touching anything anyway. If you're hanging it, it's going to hang right there. It's not in the way. Actually, because of this, the way the stirrup, I'll call it foot stirrup, so you can't really get your foot in there. So now it's out away from the tree, which helps because this is, you know, back here is away. So it's going to lean like kind of like that. So it's going to be away from the tree anyway. So that's what it looks like when it's in there. Remember, it's a load through, shoot through riser. So when you want to let the bow down, I'll show you how that works. Again, you just decock, pull the arrow out. You're going to set it again. So again, look, Ma, no hands. That's where it sits, which is beauty about that riser. You're going to take your crank handle out. Those 3 revolutions that you took out, you're going to put them back in. You're going to put it back onto, so you're going to take the pressure off of the bow and you're going to put it back to the trigger block. So you're going to go 1, 2. You can feel it right there. It gets difficult. And what I do is I go until I can take the pressure off. Boom. Lever, go forward. See if I can do this because I don't have it on the ground. Watch, there it goes. As soon as it comes off, you no longer have to do it. Down you go. Look, Ma, no hands, no free spooling, no any of that funny business. Take it all the way down. You really want to take it, man, when you get to the bottom, the pressure just comes right off. So pull your handle out. And then what you want to do is, so now you can see it's down. You got some play. Put it in the fire. You can see inside, see if I get that. There's a lever in the back, right on the back of the trigger block. You just push it up, boom, you're done. Take up I do it by hand, take up the slack, and then the trigger block goes up. So you can see how it is. I just do this portion by hand. I'm not sure that's the right way to do it, but it's just, you're back, it's done. It's in there, it ain't going anywhere. So you can't go any further with your hand, and you take the 3 off. 1, 2, 3. Takes the pressure off the trigger block and puts it back onto the main frame of the bow. So it does a very nice job with that. Again, they work the kinks out with the Rev X. This is the same. Now, I will tell you this, they have done a few, it seemed like to me they've done a few tweaks along the way. My Rev X had a little play in here. This one doesn't have any play. It doesn't have, and when it's back, it's tight. So again, once you get these cranks, and it's hard to going back to rope cocking a bow. So nice job, Excalibur. Let's talk about shooting it. So let's talk about shooting the Hybrid X. This bow is insanely accurate. I mean, insanely accurate. But I will tell you this, and this is, I learned this the hard way. I'm passing it on to you so you don't make the mistake. This bow does not want to be held with a death grip. So the original reverse draw bows, no secret, were the Scorpion bows. They were long, they were wide, huge cams on the side. And then as other companies started making reverse draw bows, they got the bow smaller, more compact. You had to put a death grip on them. When you pulled it in, you had to pull in and down, because if not, the bow spraying arrows everywhere. It was, that was different. It's not like a traditional bow where the riser's up front, where you just lay it on the rest, and like an old Excalibur, any Excalibur you shoot, it doesn't need a lot of attention. That's why we love them. And this bow does not want a death grip. It wants to breathe. It doesn't want it. And I'm going to tell you how I learned this by mistake. And I thought I had a different scope on here. I thought I killed the scope. So when I sight a bow in, I use the bog, the death grip, and I just put it in there. And if you don't have one, this is one to look at. But as you can see, this is kind of rounded here on the bottom. So it doesn't, you're rounded on a flat, so it wants to do this. So when I put it in, you just crank it in, just get it to where it'll hold it, and stop. When you do that, you will experience unmatched accuracy. I don't mean that. This is not a paid endorsement or any of that. The accuracy of this bow is insane. With the factory arrows, without doing anything fancy, nothing custom. So I was sighting in the bow, and I had a turret style scope on here. 20 yards, 40 yards, man, just dot, dot, dot. So I get out to 60, and because, as you get further out, as the bow moves a little bit, it's more exaggerated. So I'm cranking this thing down as tight as I could crank it. And then all of a sudden, I'm shooting 6 inches low, I'm shooting left, I'm shooting right. I'm like, what is going on at 20, 30, 40? I'm just hitting dimes. And then, so I'm like, man, I killed the scope. So I pulled the scope off. I put their Overwatch on, resighted it in. I do everything with levels like you're supposed to do. So crosshairs, horizontal, perfect, with the main frame. Same thing, 20. Because, it's a multi-reticle. The other one was a single reticle. So I'm truing it out to 40. I get out to 60. Boom, death grip. Crank it, crank it, crank it, crank. I crank the bog pot down. And I can't figure it out. So I get a hold of Jeff at Excalibur. I said, man, I don't know if I got a limb going on. I don't know what's this. He said, doesn't make any sense. What's going on there? And he says, I don't know if it's this or it's that. So he said, and he threw it out. He goes, don't crank it down so hard. Just leave it loose and see what happens. Well, I left it loose. And guess what? No more of that. So I'm just telling you, this is a freebie for you from old Uncle Mike. If you shoot the same way I do, and you use a bog, death grip, don't put a death grip on it. So all I do now is, because I like to steady it in there a little bit, instead of putting the pressure, of gripping it, cranking it down, all I do now is I put a little towel in there, kind of wraps on both sides, and that helps take that teeterness out. And it's back to, I'm hitting quarters at 60 yards, probably dimes if I. So again, when you're shooting with these, what you don't have is that 3-point contact, shoulder, front, and then your elbow. So you can get a little on this, fine for hunting, but if you're trying to, be precise in sighting the bow in, you're better off to have your elbow on a rest itself, and then that way you're just as steady as a rock. If you put them into, I've seen some people shoot their bows, they put them in lead sleds, just don't put any lead in there, because, that'll kill your scope. And then it stays right there. So there's the trick. So do not duplicate what I did and crank that thing down, and you'll kill your accuracy further out. Once I stop putting the death grip on there, man, it just lays them in. Lays them in as far as you want to shoot them. Man, this bow's incredible.